Welcome to the brand new Roll the DiSE podcast, live from the Diploma in Sport Excellence team car. Live from the descent of Mount Tiede from a great ride today. What have we been up to today?
So today we did our session in the school this morning, teaching PE to children from the age of around about 5 to around about the age of 12.
It was chaos, wasn't it?
It was organised chaos. It was organised chaos. It was good.
These guys did really well.
They did brilliantly. They're definitely getting tired. You can see that.
Yeah.
Now, that kind of the routine is kicking in, but so is the fatigue. But they did really well, and there were one or two things that we saw that really impressed us as well, which were kind of just little observations.
They're getting on really well with just cracking on and basically coaching in an entirely foreign environment. None of the kids speak their language, and a lot of them haven't delivered like PE style activities before.
Well, one of the things that really impressed me was seeing students taking the initiative and recognising that, you know, kids might not necessarily have a straightforward background,
like meeting the needs without any kind of, you know, suggestion from us as coaches.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
like really understanding what the needs of the group are,
and not overblowing it either. Just kind of just pitching it just right.
Yeah,
that was really impressive.
And it's a lot to learn, like, about coaching in just a few, well, not even one day yet. So I'm
going to ask you a question then, right? Yeah. We were talking about this earlier. So, when you think about what we've been doing in the school, or what they've been doing in the school, I suppose if you were listening to this, you'd be thinking, well, what's the point in a training camp being including like teaching PE in the school?
Yeah.
So if we think about cycling performance, development of high performance, how would you explain that? You know, where does the benefit come from in terms of
why are we doing this?
Fast tracking your progress
on a training camp
to become an elite performer? How does teaching PE to a bunch of Spanish kids actually influence that?
Well, yeah, just a couple of honks in support there from Spanish drivers, but just last night we were talking about world-class basics, right? So the things you've got to get right to be at a world-class level.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the biggest parts of that is, and it's slightly related to performance, but like, you know, soft skills and personal development. If you're not mature enough and you don't have those communication skills, then, you know, you might be the best cyclist in the world, but half of the job is pitching yourself to the teams and presenting yourself well. And then also we look at developing these young people as a like holistic approach. So it's person centered first and foremost. We're developing, you know, independent and strong young people. Then we move on to develop a good athlete, and once all of that's complete, we start looking at making them a world-class cyclist, right?
Mm-hmm.
So personal development wise, you know, this sort of thing, like coaching in schools, is a great way just to build those soft skills: confidence, delivery, planning, working as part of a team. It ticks all the boxes, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think there are quite a lot of benefits, but I think at times you see certain aspects kind of becoming more prominent. So, for example, like today, I already mentioned about, you know, individuals taking the initiative, but yesterday I think was a really good example of collaboration and teamwork, and communication, and kind of recognizing that actually, however good you are, your ability to do something well is often impacted by the contribution of others within your team.
I think they're starting to learn that as well.
Yeah, and it's kind of
really well.
Yeah, recognizing that, and also the next step, I suppose, onto that is being able to actually influence that. So, you know, if you've got someone who's not pulling their weight, or as a sports psychologist would say, social loafing. That's what they call it, social loafing. Yeah. That's the psychological term for it. So, if you've got someone who is a social loafer in your team or in your group, and they're having a negative impact on group performance, what do you do about that? Because cycling is a team sport.
And that can apply like socially in more than just the context of sport, right?
Yeah.
You know, conflict resolution and being able to influence people and win friends, right? Is a big part of it. So they did really well in the school this morning. So, as you can probably tell, we're in the team car on a training ride now. Let's talk a bit about what we've been up to the past few days on the bikes.
Yeah.
So today's ride's been really good so far.
Yeah.
Efforts today actually been really interesting. So Nick's in charge of developing the physical training aspects of the ride. So, you know, some of them have been up to that today. Give us a little bit of insight.
Alright, so objective today was to start thinking about and understanding how we actually apply force to the pedals. I'm not going to give away the secret sauce because you need to sign up for the DiSE program.
Yeah, of course.
So without giving away the secret sauce, using the terrain that we've got out here, so we've obviously got some really long sustainable climbs, sustained gradients of around about kind of 10%, 8, 9, 10%. And today we've been using that to work on low cadence drills or low cadence efforts. Now, I've seen riders doing low cadence efforts before. They're literally muscling the bike round using their body weight and kind of almost like leaning into each pedal stroke. That's not the objective. The objective is to understand where the force production comes from in the kinetic, understand what the kinetic chain is, where does the force production come from, and then how do you actually increase force production from certain muscle groups. And so we were using low cadence drills today, so that the riders can understand that through experience. So some, you know, to give it its proper term, experiential learning. And then what we're going to do afterwards when we get back and everyone's kind of warmed up and I had a shower and warmed up and stuff, we'll have a little kind of debrief. I've got some questions for them that will enable them to kind of reflect and evaluate on what they've done, because, you know, today is just the first step in learning that. And the ultimate goal, as I always say, is making the bike go faster. Okay, so I think, you know, when we're thinking about DiSE, and you know, I've redefined what DiSE is so many times. I think the best way, you know, to communicate what is the purpose of DiSE. The purpose of DiSE is learning how to make the bike go faster. And the purpose of today's drill was just one example of that. Okay, and the stuff that they've done in the school this morning contributes to making the bike go faster. So, you know, we're finding other ways to make the bike go faster, and yeah, you know, the session that they did today was just kind of like the first step towards that in terms of a more kind of biomechanical approach.
I think you said two words there that really sum up why these DiSE training camps are so valuable. So if you're watching this and you think, you know, what actually is DiSE and what is the benefit of bringing 10 young riders out here, and those two words were experiential learning, right? Mm-hmm. Because they get the opportunity to practice this out on the bike and obviously develop their physical capabilities, but afterwards they're all taking part in workshops and probably the most valuable thing, reflections, yeah, on what we're actually learning out on the road. You combine that all together and it's like the ultimate classroom versus practical environment, right?
Yeah.
So that's what's so beneficial about having them all out here.
Yeah.
And the availability of all the coaches we've got as well.
Yeah. And the area where we are. You know, we're in Tenerife, we're in
right up ahead. That's it, it's fun.
Roger.